What am I doing? What am I doing? Good Lord. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel called businessEP4. In this channel, we discuss everything that has to do with the business, the successes, the failures, and everything in between. And in today's video, we are doing episode 4 of the Kids Entertainment Services business. And today we are going to be dealing with safety tips for the inflatable. Before we go deeper into the topic, it is very important that when you arrive at the booking, you inform the person who booked you, or the person who is there to take over the units from you guys. It is very important to maybe verbally tell them the rules. You can give them a printout of the rules and tell them those are the rules and they must read them. You can have the rules displayed, maybe on a banner or whatever. You can have the tips or rules written on the inflatables themselves. I know that a pool comes already with the safety tips or safety rules written on it. You can do the same with the jumping castle and your water slide. Okay, the first rule that you must know is that kids should be supervised at all times, whether it's the pool, it's the trampoline, it's the jumping castle, or even the water slide. Because if you leave the kids alone, you don't know what they're going to do. And some kids are too small to be sliding, some are too small to be swimming, and it is really not safe for them to be just left alone. And another rule, that general rule that you should know, is that you should never mix the bigger kids with the smaller kids. You must always separate the bigger kids with the smaller kids to avoid injuries. For example, if the bigger kids are jumping with the smaller kids, there are chances that the bigger kids are going to do tricks and then they may end up hurting the smaller kids. Or you may find out if the bigger kids slide with the smaller kids, they might injure them when they get to the pond. So you must always separate the bigger kids from the smaller kids. Okay, now when we get to the rules of the jumping castle specifically, one important rule is that the kids must not bring in food in the unit. It's not only for their safety, but also for you as well, because food can leave stains and it can ruin the castle for you. Secondly, they must not bring any liquids, because liquids make the jumping castle slippery and that may cause injuries for the kids. Another rule that you should know is that the kids should not jump on the stairs, because the stairs do not have any supporting for when the kids are jumping, and it could be easier for the kid to jump on the side and fall because the stairs are really small. They are just meant for the kids to be able to get inside the castle. And another rule that you should know for the jumping castle is that the kids should not lean or try to hang on the sides of the unit, because that may cause the unit to tilt and also it can cause damage to the unit. And another rule is that you should not, depending on the size of your castle, you should be wary of the number of kids that are in the castle. There must be space between the kids, because if there's not space between the kids, it means that they might injure each other whilst they are jumping. Another rule that is very important for the jumping castle is that the kids should avoid doing tricks on the castle. Some kids like to do spins or flips. Yeah, they like to do flips that could injure the other kids that are inside the unit, and also it can injure the child who's doing the spin as well. It is very important to make sure that the parents or whoever it is that you are handing over the units to is aware of all of these rules, because should something happen to the kids whilst they are using your units, you could be liable for it. So you have to make sure that the parent knows, and the parents knows that anything that happens whilst the kids are jumping in the castle, you are not liable for it, because you did give the parents the safety tips of how the kids should carry themselves whilst they are in the castle, and that a parent or a guardian should always be there to supervise the kids. Okay, moving to the water slide. Now, one important rule that you should know about the water slide, even the parents tend to ignore this one, is that you should not add soap to the slide, but even parents avoid this one because it makes the slide even more slippery, which could also cause injuries, because now a child goes down faster than they would if they were just sliding on normal water. I know from experience that I have clients who even do it in front of me while I'm there. But I know that for my side, I am safe because I had told the parents that it is not advisable for them to add the soap on the slide because it makes it even more slippery and the children slide down faster, which can cause injuries when they get to the pond. And another rule that you should know for the water slide is that when the kids have slided down, kids firstly should slide down one kid at a time, not two kids. So one kid must slide at a time. And secondly, when the child gets to the pond, before the next child slides down, the other child should get out of the pond to avoid being hit by the child that is coming down the slide. And then another rule that you should know for the water slide is that it is very much advisable for the kids to wear swimwear while they're sliding because jeans may damage the unit. They may also hurt the child. So they must wear clothing that is meant for swimming. It makes it easier for them to slide, and then it's also easy on the unit as well. Those are the rules for the water slide. And then coming down to the pool, with the pool, it's easier-ish because the pool comes with its own safety tips. For example, you must look at the age of the kids that are allowed to swim in the pool. Make sure the parent is aware, or the client, let me say, the client is aware of the age limit that of kids that are supposed to be swimming in the pool. They are aware of how much weight the pool can take, and they know that the kids should not lean on the walls of the pool because it can cause the pool to tilt. Yeah. And then for the trampoline, it's the same as the jumping castle. Be wary of mixing the different ages of kids. Be wary of doing tricks. And it is always advisable to make sure that your trampoline has that net thingy to protect the kids so that if they jump too high or whatever happens, they don't fall on the ground, but rather they can maybe hit against the net, but still remain inside the trampoline. And for you as the supplier, you should know that you should never set your jumping castles on or your units, let me say. You should never set your units in a space that is crooked like this. It is very much unsafe, especially for the pool and the jumping castle. You must make sure that wherever you place your units, it's level ground. And also, if you are placing before you even place your units, whether it's on the grass or it's on concrete, make sure that there are no sharp objects on the ground because they may puncture the units, and that may be unsafe for the kids because it may deflate. And another important tip that you must know is that if you are going to set up your unit on concrete, you must make sure that there's something underneath to protect the unit from not only sharp objects can hurt your unit, but also the friction as well can hurt your unit. And another important tip for you as a supplier is that you must avoid setting up your units when it's raining, especially for the blower, because the blower should not mix with water under any circumstances. It is electrical. If it gets mixed up with water, it can be damaged, and that thing is very much expensive. There's a fly. That thing is expensive, so you must always make sure that it is not raining or drizzling when you are setting up or when the kids are actually using the units. This is also one of the tips that you must tell the parents, that if you leave your units in their care, in their hands, because they've hired it, the first thing that they must do when it's raining or drizzling, whatever the case may be, first thing that they must remove is the blowers. Show them how to unplug the blower and how to deattach it from your units and put it in a safe place, whether it's inside the house or their garage or wherever. That is also very important to show your customers when you deliver. And always make sure that your units are anchored, because when you inflate the units, they become light because they have air makes things light. So you must always make sure that you anchor your units so that they don't get blown away by wind. And also for the jumping castle, you make sure that it's anchored so that it doesn't tilt side to side when the kids are jumping inside. And another tip that you should know as a supplier is that you should be wary of the weather when you are setting up your units. You cannot set up your unit when the wind is blowing hard. I don't know if the right English for that, but a definition of that would be, are the trees swerving like this? If the trees are swerving like this, it is not a desirable weather for you to set up the inflatables, because they can be blown away by the weather, which is why you need strong anchors. You need to make sure that your units are anchored, so that should it happen that the wind blows harder and then you had already set up, at least the kids will be safe enough to get out of the unit without it blowing away. Which brings us to the last safety tip for both you and your client, is that before you de-inflate, always make sure that there are no kids inside any unit. There are no kids inside the pool when you are taking out the water. There are no kids sliding on the slide when you are de-inflating it. There are no kids jumping on the jumping castle when you are de-inflating it, especially the jumping castle, because it can cause suffocation. Because it's big, the kids are inside, it can just close them in there and then cause suffocation. So you need to be very much aware of that, and also let the parents know about that rule as well. Because if it rains while you are not there and then they are trying to remove the blower and they do not know that the kids must get out first, it can also cause problems for you, because the parent could easily say that, no, you didn't tell me about this, I didn't know this, and then you will be liable for that kid's injuries. And another safety tip that you can have for both yourself and your client is to have a contract that lays out all of these rules, and then you can sign, and then the parent or the client can sign with you to say, I was made aware of these rules and I acknowledge them. And also the contract helps when you include things like, should something happen to your unit while it's there, then the client will be liable for it, especially clients who want your units to be with them for overnight. Then you can write that down, that I'm leaving my units with you for overnight, and then should they be stolen or damaged in the duration of that time, then you will be liable for it. I personally do not advise for my units to sleep over at a client's place, because really a client can say, I can't afford to pay your jumping castle up front, I have to pay you in installment. If you win the case, I'm just saying, they might want to pay you installment. Now you're gonna lose business, because you may also not have money to just replace the castle right there and then. So I prefer to bring them in my delivery times in the morning, and then I go get them in the afternoon, because then I know that during the day it's in use and no one is gonna steal it, and then I can just get it back, other than having it sleep over there and you don't know what happens in the night. And sometimes it's going to be really difficult to ask a person to repay you for something that you know they also had no control over. Yes, there might be someone who is shady and just gave a tip that the unit is there and then it got stolen, but also it may be just a bad luck that people came and then they stole it, and that's it. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. This will be the last episode of this business. If you have any questions regarding this, you can ask them down below on the comment section, or you can hit me up on Facebook as you did. That's how I ended up doing this series. You can just hit me up on Facebook and ask. Some people even ask me on WhatsApp, so you can do that, and then I'll try to respond to your questions as best as I can, or I'll just do a video answering all of those questions at once. Thank you very much for watching once again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, do the most, and remember, never say no to a crown.